Story time. I almost became a professional wrestler. It's true. Where to begin? But the beginning, right? So let's do that. So this was about 2012, and I don't know exactly what possessed me. I don't know what gets into me sometimes. But I do remember watching wrestling one night on TV, and at the time I was watching TNA wrestling. And I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and TNA wrestling was based in Nashville, Tennessee. And this was a really exciting time for professional wrestling. Hulk Hogan worked there. My man, my hero, Kurt Angle worked there. They were headquartered in Nashville, Tennessee, downtown in the Cumberland Station area. So it was really cool, kind of trendy area, really cool offices. It was just hip. It was cool and it was exciting. So again, I don't know what possessed me. But I went on the TNA website one night and I'm like, man, I want to be a wrestler. I've always loved wrestling. And this is crazy. I had a career. I have a career in healthcare. You know, I'd been working in it at that time at least 3 or 4 years. And I was really making making a name for myself. I was doing well. So this, I can't express like how impulsive and crazy this kind of was. So it was what it was. So I go to the TNA website. And I'm looking at all the stars to me, these people that I've admired almost my whole life, right? And I go to the president and CEO, dixiecarter, and I find her email address. And I go, what the heck, right? Start at the top. What do you have to lose, right? So I emailed her. It's so embarrassing. So I emailed her and I wrote to her and I said, I want to be a wrestler. And I think this is why I would be a good wrestler. And sure enough, she replied. Couldn't believe it, right? This is a billionaire, right? Probably, I guess. And, someone like Hulk Hogan calls her a boss. So this is insane. So she replied and she said, hey, wonderful. This sounds great. Let me connect you with Terry Taylor. He is the head of our, I think, talent department or something, division. I don't know. And I go, whoa, she replied. I can't believe, wow, okay. So already, we got a lot further than I thought we would ever get, right? So I said, yeah, thank you so much. That's amazing. I look forward to hearing from Mr. Taylor. Terry Taylor emailed me the following day. And he said, hey, John, why don't you come downtown and to our headquarters, and I'd love to get to know you. And he set up a 30-minute meeting with me. I'm like, heck yeah, man. Yeah, I'm in. So we set up a meeting. I go downtown. I go about an hour early because I'm so excited. I'm so nervous, just sitting in my car, bouncing, ready to go. I'm so excited, so nervous. Have no idea what to expect either. Truly no idea what to expect at all. And so 10 a.m. rolls around. Go knock on the door. They go into the lobby. Beautiful, ornate offices, right? Really trendy, cool lights. They spent a lot of money here. This is really nice, you know? They were very kind, offered me a coffee, of course. Just very accommodating people, right? I'm seen back to Mr. Taylor's office, and I get to meet him in person. And I go to his office, and he stands up. And I remember thinking, whoa, he's a lot bigger than he was on TV. He was 6'2", really broad-shouldered. And I'm thinking in my mind, man, I am here with the Red Rooster. And every wrestling fan from my generation knows who that is. Terry Taylor, man. And I'll be honest with you. I fanboyed out a little bit. I did. I got a little bit fanboy with him. But he stood up and he walked around the desk and he put his hand out to shake. And he gave me maybe the lightest handshake I've ever felt in my life. And I don't know if that's a wrestling thing or not, but I remember that. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy's really gentle. Again, for such a big guy, right? So he graciously asks me to sit down. And we start talking. And he asks me, where am I from? My athletic background. And I tell him kind of about my wrestling and just things like that. And again, I fanboyed out, right? So within 2 or 3 minutes, all of a sudden we are totally in a conversation where I'm just torpedoing him with obscure old WCW, WWF questions. I'm like, what was it like to wrestle with Ron Simmons? And I remember at one point he laughed. It was just he just couldn't help but giggle because, man, I was enthusiastic, right? So He told me about he'd broken his neck and fused his neck and how his career had transitioned into more of a corporate side. And I get it. Like, he's a cerebral guy, really smart guy. I understand why he made the transition to more of a corporate side. So he goes, do you have free time? I go, yes, sir. I got all day. He said, I want to show you around a little more. So sure, So he first takes me into this back conference room office on the side of his, and he says, check this out. And he showed me the brand new TNA championship belt. Like, for real. No one had seen it yet. It was like some brand new one. I want to say one of the Hardy Boys won it. Could be totally wrong about that. But I got to see the thing. It was shiny. It was cool. It was just really, really awesome. And he goes, all right, follow me. Okay. So he takes me to the end of the hallway. He knocks on the door. He says, hey, you got a minute? I says, yeah. And I just follow in. I have no idea where I'm going. I follow him in. And he takes me right into Dixiecarter's office, the owner of TNA. Couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, So he takes me in and he says, hey, I don't remember. I think he called her Dixie. I guess Dixie. This is John Gibson. I'd like for y'all to meet. And she got up and she walked around the desk and she put her hand out and gave me the softest handshake I've ever felt, other than Terry Taylor's. And anyway, she sat down and he left the room. He said, I'll let y'all get to know each other. We completely disrupted her day. She was not expecting me, by the way. And she so graciously sat down and invited me to sit down. And she asked me about myself, my daughter. She showed me a picture of it. She'd had a grandbaby at that time born. Showed me pictures. And before I left, we didn't talk about wrestling at all. We talked about our lives, where she's from, where I'm from. That's it. And it was absolutely wonderful. She was so kind and so unbelievably gracious. And before I left, she said, I want to give you something. Okay. All right. She goes, I'm going to get you tickets to Lockdown, which was the TNA's premier pay-per-view event. She goes, I'm going to get you some tickets and I'd love for you to go. Oh, I'd love to go too. That'd be great. So sure enough, Mr. Taylor comes and picks me up and walks me out and he goes, hey, you'll be hearing from me. And before I left, he goes, and I look forward to working with you. Oh my gosh. Like, whoa. I don't know what that means, but like, I got chills. So sure enough, 2 weeks rolls around and I have my tickets. I have floor seats to Lockdown. Pay-per-view card, Kurt Angle's on it, Hulk Hogan's on it, everybody's on it, man. Side note, check out Bobby Roode. Great work. You will not be disappointed. Anyway, it was an amazing night. Truly an amazing night. If you're a wrestling fan, to be that close on the floor, it was amazing. But the best part of the night was this. Before the show started, I showed up about an hour early just to get there and feel it, get the ambiance, right? And Miss Carter found us. She found me. She gave me the tickets, so obviously she knew where my seats were, I guess. But she came down to the floor, and as she did, people were grabbing her, taking pictures, fan pictures, and she made it a point to go out of her way to come and say, hi, John. How are you? How have you been? And only questions about me, how I was doing. It was wonderful. And she had all these people, and I didn't want to take up any of her time, And as we were leaving, she shook my hand very softly. She said, I can't wait to work with you. I said, wow, I can't wait to work with you. She goes, you'll be hearing from us. I said, yes, ma'am. So I go home and I don't hear anything for a week. Okay. I don't hear anything for 2 weeks. Oh no. So I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't bear it. So I emailed Mr. Taylor. The email got bounced back to me. Boom, no longer here. I go, oh, what do I do? I don't want to, but Miss Carter's the only other person I know. So I emailed Miss Carter and I said, hey, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. It's John. Hi. Hadn't heard from Mr. Taylor and I just, I didn't know what the next steps were. Was just waiting to hear from you. She replied immediately in like 2 minutes and said, hey, I'd like you to meet Mr. Bruce Pritchard. Mr. Taylor's no longer with the organization. Mr. Pritchard is now overseeing, I think, talent relations is what they called it. He'll be reaching out to you. said, yes, ma'am. Awesome. I immediately sent a follow-up email to Mr. Pritchard introducing myself. Hey, can't wait to hear from you. Here are some available times from me. Obviously, I'll be flexible to your schedule. Just let me know. I will accommodate. Can't wait to hear from you. I never heard from Mr. Pritchard. So that's the story time. That's it. I reached out a couple times. He never replied. So things work out for a reason. You know, I'm where I am in life right now. I think for a reason, and I'm very happy with where I am. I've subsequently found jiu-jitsu in this whole other life, you know, so things work out for a reason. But that is my story time. I almost became a professional wrestler.